Hello everyone, and welcome to my GH Soap Opera Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. GH spoilers. Could Chase eventually hear Willow spilling more tea to Drew? General Hospital rumors and updates hint that Harris and Chase would try the planted key again and overhear Willow Kane in a loud one-way dispute. She's been insulting and tormenting Drew Kane. Not to mention spilling all her tea is another near call in store for Willow. Willow planted an extra key to Drew's house on Michael's keychain. GH viewers are aware that Willow discreetly inserted an extra key to Drew's dwelling on Michael Corinthos' keychain, trying to make him look guilty of Drew's earlier shooting. Now, it seems Michael had access to Drew's apartment on the night of the shooting, or at least that's the impression after Chase put his idea to the test. In the February 5th episode, Chase uncovered Michael's keychain and looked to have an epiphany. He tried the key in the February 6th episode, and indeed, Willow suffered a close call. As she violently hurled a platter in Drew's room, Chase instantly yelled out her name, questioning if everything was good. This is the key Tracy Quartermaine had produced. A copy of Scout's. This is the key Tracy Quartermaine had produced, which was a copy of Scout Kane's and Martin Gray handed to Willow. Chase is likely to view this as more indication that Michael isn't as innocent as he says. Nevertheless, Willow's plot could hit a little problem as she has been publicly boasting to Drew about shooting him and pressuring him to finally pay attention to her. What if Chase unexpectedly walks in on Willow again, overhearing something that isn't intended for him? He could continue to check on Willow and Drew to assure that everything is fine. Willow will be able to easily explain anything away while Chase may not get a confession concerning the incident. He might still overhear something that seems fairly damning. At the very least, Willow may say anything that shows to Chase that she's not the grieving, loving wife she seems to be. Naturally, Willow has gotten pretty proficient at hiding her tracks, so she may swiftly come up with an explanation. Chase might be too immersed in his must defend Willow phase to think too critically of her just yet. If Chase hears Willow being relatively harsh with Drew, he could find himself understanding her perspective. Chase may be happy to discover Willow's no longer under Drew's influence. He may even feel happy to discover that Willow is no longer under Drew's influence and could consider her as honorable for caring for Drew, despite her newfound lucidity. In essence, Chase may overhear just enough to raise suspicions, but Willow may simply explain the incident away. Given Chase's predisposition to always find the best in his ex, he could disregard anything he overhears for the time being. Regarding the important problem, Chase could supply Willow with updates regarding his findings, leaving her optimistic that her strategy will work. This time, he shamelessly lied, stating that Willow must have left her door unlocked. Exclusive interview. General Hospital actor Cameron Mathison discusses the findings of his latest cancer checkup. General Hospital star Cameron Mathison announced last week that he was having a battery of tests done relating to the kidney cancer he was diagnosed with in 2019. His hospital visit includes blood testing, a CT scan, and X-rays. Soap Central got up with the fan favorite on a red carpet this weekend, and he told us the exclusive scoop on the findings. General Hospital, Cameron Mathison, exclusive. The news is good, I'm clear, Mathison gleefully reveals with Soap Central. My kidney numbers are looking better than they were last year. That's a really good sign because they had been declining. I'm really happy. Mathison noted that even though he and his ex-wife, Vanessa, have split up, she was still the first person he reached out to deliver the fantastic news. We're still in it together, the actor muses. We're not in a relationship, obviously, but we dialogue all the time. We're supportive of each other. We had 22 years. We raised 2 kids together. We went through the fires together. It's weird because for 22 years, the first person I would call would be Vanessa. When I got cancer, I called Vanessa, Mathison shares. When a show got canceled, I called Vanessa. So, when I found out I was cancer-free, I texted Vanessa. As followers of Mathison are well aware, he's been through major life events and challenges over the last several years. In addition to his cancer diagnosis, he lost his mother, and the show he hosted on Hallmark, Home and Family, had been cancelled, and his beloved dog, Red, passed away. Getting to play against type as unscrupulous Drew Kane on General Hospital, he says, continues to be cathartic. I try to be a positive, resilient, kind human in the world, but Drew's not. Mathison says. So, it's a little bit of a release for me. Don't miss the 33rd Annual Movie Guide Awards on Friday night. Mathison hosted the 33rd Annual Movie Guide Awards at the Avalon in Hollywood. The star-studded affair was attended by Candace Cameron Bure, Dancing with the Stars Mirror Ball Trophy winners Maxim Shmerkovsky and Peta Murgatroyd, singer Pat Boone, Danica McKellar, singer Tony Orlando, Brittany Underwood, and Robert Palmer Watkins. Honored to host the Movie Guide Awards in the heart of Hollywood performing arts, Mathison shared on Instagram. A night that meant a lot to me, and an opportunity I'm deeply grateful for. Folded hands, medium light skin toned. Was so great to see you. McKellar told Mathison, who replied, so good to see you too. GH's Chris McKenna pushes back on claims Jack is playing Carly. Chris McKenna addressed fan backlash by pointing out that Jack's private heartbreak wouldn't exist if the relationship were just strategy. On General Hospital, Josslyn overheard Jack tell Callum he was only dating Carly to get intel on Sonny. That should have played like a clean twist, but it didn't because the scene lingered in the back of the viewers' minds. Jack chose Carly even when it complicated his life, telling her that he loves her, and suddenly viewers were meant to believe it was all theater. That disconnect is what sent Chris McKenna to social media, where he decided to stop letting the conversation run without him. Key takeaways: fans were up in arms after Josslyn overheard Jack claim he was dating Carly to get information on Sonny. McKenna responded on social media to push back on the idea that Jack's feelings for Carly were fake. He argued that Jack's private emotional moments show sincerity, not performance. He explained that editing choices made Jack's intentions less clear than they were when the scene was filmed. McKenna left open the question of Jack's feelings toward Joss while maintaining that his love for Carly is real. When Jack's emotions don't have an audience on X, formerly Twitter, McKenna wrote, if Jack was faking his feelings for Carly, why would he be fake crying and being brokenhearted all year when there are no witnesses? There would also be no stakes with these SLs. Sorry guys. I know some folks want Jack to be faking, but the show has made it unequivocally clear he ain't. #. The fans got into it with him, prompting the actor to further respond. Arguing with a guy who has read the next 25 scripts is a wild kind of hubris. A fan asked if he expected the fan pushback that resulted from the scene, and McKenna replied, when I saw the way they edited it, I knew it would. It was clear as day Jack was putting on a show when we shot it. But with the camera distant, it wasn't as obvious. He later shared a screenshot of Joss and Jack talking on the pier, and captioned it. As a counterpoint, Jack's feelings for Joss have not been incontrovertibly proven. I have my feelings on the matter, but valid arguments could be made on either side. #H. What McKenna clarified, and what he left open, fans jumped in fast. One viewer admitted, I knew he was lying, I just couldn't articulate what felt off, while another said, it was obvious you were lying to Callum to protect Carly. Someone else explained it more bluntly, writing, Jack got in over his head and fell in love, while another added, he's good at compartmentalizing his personal life and his job. McKenna dipped in and out of the replies, not to tidy things up, but to steady the ground, and he didn't try to sell Jack as noble or clean. He just reminded everyone that feelings shown in empty rooms still count, and that pretending otherwise usually means ignoring half the story. General Hospital actor Cyrus Hobby works in theater with legendary author. General Hospital actor Cyrus Hobby recently had an experience that would make many fans of a certain age envious. Hobby, who plays Yuri, recently spent time with famous children's author Judy Blume in Florida. It was part of an artist's workshop he took part in at a facility in Key West. Blume is best known for young adult novels such as Superfudge, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret? And Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Several of her books have been made into films over the years, and she has won about 100 literary awards. General Hospital's Hobby is a versatile actor now in her 80s. Blume continues to teach writing and promote literacy through her social media and website. Hobby made 2 posts about his experience in Florida. He shared a picture of himself with the legendary author, captioning it, I met Judy Blume and Lil Baby in the same day. But there's only one legend, at Judy Blume for real. Respectfully, got me blushin'. Several fans commented on Hobby's post, expressing their envy over his getting to meet Blume. Hobby crossed paths with Blume during a theater project at the studios of Key West, where the group worked on a play. That is a museum that houses a non-profit community for artists. The group describes itself on its social media as, "The studios of Key West's mission is to support artists, inspire creativity, and build community." Hobby made a post about the experience, sharing several photos and captioning it, "I love people and working with people, especially ones who are talented, as and full of love. As I post this into the AI algorithm that has taken over our lives today, a trip like this reminds me why I love and must continue making art with people." The General Hospital star shared another picture with Bloom as part of the workshop, and pictures from what he said was the house of legendary author Ernest Hemingway, which is now a museum in Key West. Hobby was last on General Hospital in January, physically threatening Drew when he visited the Quartermain mansion. He recently shared a clip of that episode on his Instagram, commenting, "My co-stars are fucking awesome BTW." He has also recently shared a clip of an older episode when he worked with Ellen Travolta and Rina Sofer. Josslyn's most dangerous moment on GH didn't involve a chase. Josslyn learned that the scariest threats don't rush, they wait and take notes. After ignoring Jack's orders to stay away from Windermere, Josslyn decided to go back a second time on General Hospital. Using C for explosives that seemed to be WSB's standard issue to its agents, Joss blew the power grid, sending Spoon Island into darkness. She crept over there, expecting to search for the secret lab in quiet, but encountered Callum. She fed him a phony story about being a flaky college student and visiting her Uncle Lucas, but the tension in the room said he wasn't buying her story. Key takeaways: Josslyn returned to Windermere after ignoring Jack's order to stay away and cut the power to Spoon Island before entering. She encountered Callum unexpectedly and attempted to pass herself off as a college student visiting her uncle. Callum did not confront or threaten her, instead controlling the interaction by letting Joss do most of the talking. The tension came from observation and silence rather than action, with Callum clearly assessing her story rather than accepting it. No running, no screaming, just listening. Callum didn't chase Joss through corridors or corner her with threats. He lit candles and asked questions. He didn't seem to be listening to her so much as observing her answers, letting her do most of the talking. It was clear that Joss was adjusting her story's details as she went, in an attempt to sound harmless enough to be believed. She remained calm under pressure, knowing full well that he wasn't the groundskeeper he claimed to be, but Jack's boss at the bureau. Danger could be felt in the dimly lit room in how long Callum let her talk, in how often his eyes lingered when she mentioned Lucas, school, and the storm, as if he were filing each word away for later rather than deciding anything in the moment. Power shifts you can feel, not hear. What made the scene bite was how ordinary it looked. Two people warming their hands near a fire. A drink was offered. A polite exchange that kept circling back on itself without ever quite resolving. Joss didn't lose control of the situation, so much as realize she never had it. Callum controlled the pace, the lighting, the exits, even the tone, and all he had to do was stay calm while she worked twice as hard to keep things light. By the time the moment ended, nothing explosive had happened. No alarms or anonymous henchmen were bursting through the door. Just the lingering sense that Joss had been seen more clearly than she'd intended, and that whatever Callum was doing at Windermere, he hadn't finished yet. The moment stayed uncomfortable, the way real danger often does, waiting to see who spoke first, next time. After she filled him in on her life, the scenes ended with Josslyn saying, "What you see is what you get." He ominously responded, "Now why do I find that hard to believe?" And the silence afterward felt less like suspicion and more like recognition. Willow takes control while Drew remains trapped. Jacinda joined Christina for a yoga class and was surprised to hear that Michael had turned her on to it. Christina suggested that Jacinda and Michael go together at some point, but it was difficult to get any alone time with Michael. However, Christina was sure that would change after the custody arrangement that gave Willow more time with her children. Jacinda questioned why Michael hadn't told her the news about his children. She wondered if Willow used her past as leverage against Michael in the custody case. Willow previously brought up Jacinda's former life as an escort, and she seemed primed to use it. Jacinda understood that her relationship with Michael could create problems in family court, so coming to a compromise was the only viable option. Christina believed that Jacinda was good for Michael, but the good vibes didn't last long. Ezra arrived for the class, and Jacinda was instantly taken aback. It was awkward and uncomfortable, but thankfully, it didn't last long. Ezra tried to convince Jacinda to go out with him, but she was removed from that point in her life. As much as he wanted to maintain a connection with her, it didn't look like it would happen, and Christina certainly wasn't interested either. Chase held the key that Willow planted on Michael's key ring, visibly struggling with how to proceed. Dante walked into the room looking for Rocco, and Chase asked how the follow-up questioning with Michael went. Dante reminded Chase why he had been demoted in the first place. He overstepped during the investigation, and this was another example of that. Chase asked Dante if he felt superior to him because he now outranked him, which Dante found ridiculous. At the Q mansion, they were family, and ranks didn't matter. Chase believed that Drew's shooter was still at large, and he hoped that Dante would do the right thing if evidence linked Michael to the crime. Dante vowed to do the right thing regardless of who the suspect turned out to be. Michael looked at a photo of Wiley and Amelia, and Brooklyn entered the room, mentioning the tension between him and Chase. He didn't want their issues to impact each other, but Brooklyn advised him not to worry about that. Michael informed her that the kids would soon get to spend more time with their mother, whether he liked it or not. Willow was cleared in Drew's shooting, which made her more appealing in the eyes of the family court. Michael would likely become the next person charged in Drew's shooting, so it was better to get ahead of the situation than risk losing the kids entirely. Although Michael had concerns about the children being with Drew out of commission from the stroke, Michael wasn't as worried. He called the kids into the room to tell them the good news about seeing their mother. Michael and Brooklyn told the children that a compromise had been reached and that Willow wouldn't be left out anymore. Britt arrived at the hospital, and Elizabeth tried to fill her in on everything that she needed to get done, but Britt snapped at her. After getting the attitude from Britt, Elizabeth threatened to rat Britt out for moonlighting at Windmere in her free time. Elizabeth informed Britt that Lucas told her about her new side gig at Windmere. Britt was offended at first at the idea of Lucas running straight to Elizabeth. However, he only mentioned it because they barely escaped the island in the inclement weather. After realizing that she likely overreacted, Britt apologized to Elizabeth for jumping down her throat. Elizabeth accepted the apology, but she remained confused by Britt's Jekyll and Hyde persona. Dante and Rocco showed up for the latter's community service. Britt spoke to Rocco about potentially becoming a doctor someday, even if his heart was currently set on hockey. Elizabeth sensed the uncomfortable temperature in the room and whisked Rocco away for his assignment. Once they were alone, Dante asked Britt, "How far do you think that you push me?" Britt didn't think she was doing anything wrong by cheering on Rocco from the sidelines. She thought things were better between the families, so she struggled to understand why Dante was so bitter. Dante wasn't over Britt's past sins. She withheld Rocco from his family when he was a baby, costing Dante and Lulu many months of his life. Although she was forced to give Ben back to them, she was still fond of him. Dante ordered Britt to stay out of Rocco's life because he didn't think she deserved it. However, Britt believed that choice was up to Rocco, not him. While Drew remained locked in, unable to speak or move, Willow continued with her long-overdue confession. She told Drew how she shot him twice in the back, and that she couldn't believe she actually did it. Despite Willow's dawn-of-day weapons training, she never thought she'd resort to violence. Willow explained to Drew that she felt like killing him was the only way to fully free herself from his grip. Willow promised to tell Drew everything that he wanted to know. It all went back to the night of her wedding and to how she discovered that Drew and Nina had slept together. She needed time to process all of it, but Drew refused to give her the space that she needed. Willow accused Drew of being the problem. He was the sole issue standing in the way of her getting her kids back. Willow grew desperate as Drew refused to let her breathe or focus on her children. Willow walked Drew through how she retrieved Edward's gun, but at first, she wasn't sure she'd use it. Once Judge Heron was murdered, everything was set in motion. She reminded Drew about how Chase championed her case to Judge Heron and that the key to getting her kids back rested in leaving Drew in the past. However, Heron was murdered, and that changed everything. Willow crawled onto the bed and demanded to know if Drew killed the judge or arranged for her to be taken out by someone else. Willow was finished pretending to be the perfect wife to Drew. She was fully embracing her dark side and giving Drew everything that he had coming to him. Willow got closer to Drew and said, "You are capable of anything as long as it keeps me dependent on you. Because that's what this whole thing has been about, right? Manipulating me, using my children in whatever manner you wanted, to keep me wanting you, bound to you. Well, all of that ends now." Willow never forgot how Drew brought Wiley to tears on multiple occasions. She trusted that Drew wanted what was best for her, But she knew what he did in Germany. Willow knew that Michael never refused to see her in Germany. Outside their house, Chase started fumbling through the keyring to see if any of the keys matched their door. However, one of the keys worked, and he was safely inside Drew and Willow's house. Everything Drew did behind the scenes to isolate her led her to put 2 bullets in his back. Willow screamed that the only thing she regretted about what she did was that he didn't die. However, Chase opened the door to check on Willow after he heard a loud crash, and she looked frozen, unsure how to handle things. Willow thought quickly and told Chase she accidentally knocked over a tray. She asked whether she had left the front door unlocked, and Chase lied, claiming she had. Willow asked to move their conversation to the living room so Drew could rest. After the confession he just received, he certainly needed some space to calm down. Willow gave Drew specific doses of medication to ensure he remained in his current state. She planned to use his money, connection, and power of attorney to give her and the kids a new life. Willow was firmly in control of her future, and Drew was at her mercy. Chase later returned to the Q mansion, and he tried to be discreet in returning Michael's keys, but he was caught in the act. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel without missing any update.